Hi everyone, it's Sarah again, and I'm here to discuss burnout and stress in the workplace. That's the topic I chose for my literature review and my research paper. So I'm going to give you a little overview, and then we'll go through what I hypothesized and then the results of my findings. So I focused on stress and burnout in the workplace because it was something that was interesting to me, something I hadn't learned too much about beforehand. So I wanted to focus my research paper on the deeper cause of it after doing the literature review. So according to Cantor and Sherman in 2017, the definition is a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion that occurs when we feel overwhelmed by too many demands, too few resources, and too little recovery time. That's the definition of burnout. So in my initial research, there was much discussion into the cause. Was it external or internal factors that were ultimately responsible for causing burnout in the workplace? And establishing that cause can help companies better prevent and treat burnout. So this is of importance. So I have hypothesized through my research that burnout in the workplace is not caused solely by external factors such as increased workload, lack of job clarity, and I also hypothesized that burnout in the workplace is not caused solely by internal factors such as preconditioned personality, but burnout is rather a combination of internal and external factors. I believe there's a substantial relationship between the employee's environment and the employees themselves, their personalities, and both of them causing burnout in the workplace. So through the literature review and reading many journal articles, I was able to come to a few conclusions. Some researchers are correct in saying that external factors, such as work environment, job clarity, and certain role stressors, play a significant role in causing burnout in employees. I looked through multiple articles and multiple studies that have been done that show that it is external factors that are affecting burnout in the workplace. But I also found that other researchers determined that internal factors such as personality are also correct. There's been many studies into neuroticism and figuring out that as part of the Big Five personality exam is a predictor of burnout. So through my research, I was able to conclude that both sides of the issue are correct. The cause of burnout is much deeper than an external issue, and it's much broader than an internal issue. It's a combination of both, and it's larger than a singular cause. So through my research, I discovered that there needs to be more research in order to continue to find a cure for burnout and how to prevent it. So further study would help work to prevent it better, but the sample sizes of the studies need to be expanded substantially and contain a wider variety of people. Many of the studies were very narrow in their demographics of people that they chose, certain occupations, and many of them were done years and years ago, and so technology has changed, and so I'm sure that has plays a role in affecting burnout in the workplace. So it would be great if studies expanded and we're able to use a wider sample size for that, and more conclusive evidence will help continually affect research into how to prevent burnout. Looking at this from a biblical perspective, instantly, right, when I thought of it, I thought of how God says when Jesus told the disciples in Matthew about not worrying about tomorrow, how we can't be focused on the future. We need to be living in the moment and honoring God's commands in the moment, and how that connects to stress in the workplace. How God has given us a task and He's given us a job, and He wants us to do it well. And so we can't be stressed about tomorrow, and that added external stress that we put on ourselves is not helping us with burnout. And in Ephesians 6:5-9, I'm going to read it because this is the passage that I want to focus on the most. It says, "Slaves, obey your earthly masters with respect and fear, and with sincerity of heart, just as you would obey Christ. Obey them not only to win their favor when their eye is on you, but as slaves of Christ, doing the will of God from your heart. Serve wholeheartedly as if you were serving the Lord, not people, because you know that the Lord will reward each one for whatever good they do, whether they are slave or free. And masters, treat your slaves in the same way. Do not threaten them, since you know that He who is both their master and yours is in heaven, and there is no favoritism with Him." That can directly affect how we are as employees and employers. Yes, the beginning of the section talks about slaves and masters, and we are not slaves to our employers as employees, but it just shows that the employer needs to treat their employees with fairness. It shows us how we need to treat people. It talks about that in verse 9. This will cut down on burnout in the workplace substantially, because one of those external causes of burnout is a work environment that is hostile. And then the beginning verses 5, 6, 7, and 8, it just talks about how an employee should work hard in the workplace. Bosses will respect a hardworking employee, and burnout can be diminished through that strong relationship between an employee and an employer, having that strong communication. And so God just gives us this picture that we can translate and use it in the workplace, which is super cool that we can use this passage that was written thousands of years ago and still apply it to our lives now. And so overall, as Christians, we need to be aware of how we treat our employees in the workplace by treating them as we want ourselves to be treated, loving them as our neighbors, as we've been commanded in the Bible. And this will cut down on stress and burnout in the workplace, therefore making the company more effective. So it's really awesome how Christian principles can be applied to the secular workplace, and they can make companies more effective. And that's one of the coolest things about this class, is learning all these different principles that we can use in organizational communication through a Christian lens, and then use them in a secular workplace as well. And so in conclusion, though many experts are on different sides of the issue of the deeper causes of burnout in the workplace, is it internal, is it external, is it both, is it neither, is it something else? I was able to conclude through my research that both sides are partially correct. The issue of the cause of burnout is affected by both internal and external factors. Personality as well as the work environment play a role together in predicting burnout, and therefore the prevention of burnout can be found through more research into the deeper cause. So overall, I just found a lot of research into the deeper cause of burnout, and I was able to conclude through that it is both an internal and external factor. And then hopefully in the future we can have more studies with broader sample sizes, so we can really cut down on burnout in the workplace and make our workplaces less hostile and more effective companies. Thank you.